guys, welcome back to my channel and happy Monday. So if you've noticed, we are in a little bit of a different setting. We are in one of the guest bedrooms. We are not in my office today. There are a lot of people doing a lot of construction work and people mowing the lawn and doing yard work, and so it's really noisy up at the front of the house. So we're kind of in the middle to the back part of the house, and it's much quieter here. So if you're wondering why I'm not in my office and I'm here, that's why. I do want to apologize if you hear my cat meowing in the background. She is in here with me. She's very, very needy today, probably because we were on our cruise and I still haven't made up all of the snuggle time and cuddle time with her. So if you hear her meowing or if she jumps up here, sorry about that, just ignore it. So last week on Twitter, I did post a tweet asking you guys to send me your questions about writing or about my personal life, and I did receive quite a few questions and they were all really good, and as I was reading through them, I decided I wanted to go ahead and make this video for today. I was going to do it next Monday, but I was so excited to answer these questions because they're so great and I just really wanted to dive into that. So that is what we are doing today, a Q&A video. As you can tell, I am a little bit dressed down between wearing my glasses and having my hair up in a bun. I'm not feeling 100%. This past week was really insane at work. I had a lot going on. My eyes are really dried out. I'm tired. I kind of have the sniffles. So I'm just not feeling 100%. So this is the reasoning for my attire and the way that I look today. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and get into these questions. The first question I received was from Stephanie, and she said, "Hey Kristen, what's your favorite thing about being an author?" So I have two favorite things about being an author. The first is that I get to do what I love every single day. Writing has been my passion since I was 6 years old, and while I did sort of get off track and I was really focused on school and college and my career and kind of building a life for myself, writing of course did fall by the wayside a little bit. But I'm so happy that I rediscovered that passion about 3 years ago and really dove headfirst into it. I feel like I had to wait until I was financially stable and I felt like my career and my life were in a good space before I could really start working on my passion and do that almost full-time, since I do have a full-time career as well. So for me, I just wanted to feel really stable and financially secure before I started kind of really getting into writing and thinking about publishing, because of course, as I've mentioned before, the self-publishing route can be quite expensive. My second favorite thing about being an author is just being able to network and connect with my readers and also viewers of my YouTube channel. It is so neat when I have people reach out to me to tell me how much they love my books, or that, you know, I'm their favorite author, or that I'm such an inspiration to them. I feel like connecting with people and with readers is just so special to me. And just talking with people about books, literature, whether they're my books or not, is just such a joy. It makes me so happy. So I absolutely love connecting with readers and with people in general. The second question I received is from Natalie. She asked, "Does criticism or negative feedback ever make you think you are not good enough? Did it ever? And how long did it take to build your YouTube channel?" Really good question. So I'll answer the first one about criticism and negative feedback. When I first published The Alpha Drive, it was my debut novel, and I self-published, and I was kind of very new to the whole world, and I was still very new to YouTube, and I did put The Alpha Drive on NetGalley, which is a place where readers who have signed up can read books for free. They kind of get a NetGalley arc, if you will, and they're able to read the book for free, and then they can leave reviews on Goodreads and Amazon. And there were quite a few people who left some not so great reviews on Goodreads for The Alpha Drive, which is totally fine, because I totally get not every book is going to be everyone's cup of tea. But you know, in the beginning, when you're first reading stuff, you would get a whole bunch of positive comments and reviews, and you'd be like, "Oh, this is so great," and then you would get that one negative review, and that's the one that would kind of simmer in the back of your head. So I definitely have days still where I sometimes doubt myself, but I do have exercises and kind of like meditation techniques and routines that I go through to help get myself out of that doubt and away from that. Now when I get criticism or negative feedback, I just laugh at it and I just let it roll off my shoulder, because the positive always far outweighs the negative. And so I've just realized you can't focus on the negative because it's not productive or useful for you to do that. You just need to stay focused on the positive, stay focused on the people that love you, that love your work, that are inspired by you, and that's really what keeps me going. There will always be trolls out there, and to the trolls I say, go away, no one likes you, crawl back into your troll cave and never come back out. And the next question she asked was, how long did it take to build your YouTube channel? So I actually created my YouTube channel in March of 2015, but I did not post my first video until August of 2015. So I've had my YouTube channel for almost 2 years. I feel like I don't like to compare myself to other YouTubers, especially in the writing space or really in any other YouTube space, because everyone kind of grows at their own pace. I feel amazed that I have over 11,500 subscribers. That is more than I ever thought I would receive. I still sometimes am like, people really enjoy like watching my videos. What? It's a crazy thing, and having people send questions and stuff, it's still very surreal. So I'm just so blessed and grateful and fortunate for this journey that I'm on. It has been so much fun. It's so amazing. So yeah, my YouTube channel has been 2 years in the making, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. The next question I received is from Leah. She asked, do you ever talk out a scene or problem with someone, but you don't actually want them to answer, you just need to say it out loud? Yes, all the time. I do this with Jonathan all the time. It probably drives him insane, but I always preface it by saying, I just want to run something by you, but don't say anything. Like, just don't respond, just listen to what I'm saying. And a lot of the time he's like, okay, and he'll just sit there, and he's really good about it. He's a really good sport, and he'll listen to what I have to say. But then at the end, I'm always like, so what do you think? What do you think about that? So it's funny because I always tell him not to respond, and then at the end, I want his feedback. So kind of funny how that works out, but he always does have really good advice, and he'll make me think of something that maybe I didn't think of before. So I think having a sounding board and being able to kind of vent or just tell your ideas to someone without a response is great. But I do think if you open it up for a response, that person may say something that you hadn't even thought of before, and it might be like a kind of moment. So I would say always be open to feedback, because you never know. The next question I got is from With One Magic Word, and they asked, how long did it take to write your first novel, and how many drafts did you go through before you were happy with it? This is such a great question. So my first novel, The Alpha Drive, was 5 years in the making. And the first year and a half, almost 2 years, was really it being a contemporary novel. And that was in college is when I started writing it. And then I kind of put it away once I started to get close to graduation, and then I got a job in Houston. I had to move from Arizona to Houston and start my career. So I really put writing on the back burner for a while. But it wasn't until I moved to that different company in 2012 and then had 2 years to kind of adjust and really feel secure in that position I was in, to get to 2014, which is where I decided, hey, I'm gonna get my master's degree. And for some reason, I also decided I'm gonna open up that manuscript from college. So between working full-time, going to get my master's degree, and then opening up that manuscript, it was just a really, really crazy, chaotic time. So in 2013, I really started to look at it and rewrite it. And it was in 2014 that I realized I wanted it to be young adult science fiction dystopian, whereas before it had been a new adult contemporary novel. So basically all of 2014 was spent kind of redrafting it, rewriting and revising a lot of that novel to turn it into what I wanted it to be. And then 2015 was really a lot more editing and revising. I started posting YouTube videos in August, and then really I got serious about self-publishing. I knew that's what I wanted to do, and so I set my release date for The Alpha Drive for November 2015. As far as the number of drafts that went through, probably 6 drafts over 5 years. Could have been more, but I'm confident with saying 6. The next question I received is from writer Mango Fry XO, and they asked, what do you think about sci-fi elements in a contemporary novel? Really interesting that this question popped up after the last one I just answered. As you guys know, I said The Alpha Drive was actually a contemporary novel, and then I switched it to sci-fi. I actually really like when writers blend genres. I think it's really interesting. I think it does have to be done well, and you need to do your research, because if someone picks up a book expecting it to be contemporary and it's mostly sci-fi and there's really no emphasis or focus around the relationships, then they're going to feel like they're just reading a sci-fi novel and not contemporary. Now, while the Alpha Drive series is sci-fi and dystopian, it has a lot of contemporary elements, and it does focus on the relationships between the characters. So I would say, especially the Alpha Drive, the first book, was definitely a mix between sci-fi and contemporary. I would just make sure if you're going to blend genres, make sure you do your research, read other books by authors who have done the same thing, and learn from them, or maybe see if they made certain mistakes, what you would do differently, and then incorporate that into your work. The next question I received is from Mila. She asked, what is the best thing about being a self-published author? Best thing about being a self-published author is that I have complete control over everything. Yes, I'm type A. I'm a little bit of a control freak at times. I really like that self-publishing allows me the freedom to set my own deadlines for writing the drafts, for editing, revision, publishing. I get to set my own dates. I make all my own marketing materials. I get to make or hire someone to make the covers for my books, and I have the final say on the approval for that book cover and what I want it to look like. So I do really like the whole control aspect. The one negative thing about being a self-published author is that you do have to wear so many different hats, and that can be really exhausting. And being self-published, you really can't be lazy. You have to be very motivated, very inspired. You have to take the time to research things and make sure you're doing everything correctly. So I love having complete control over all parts of the, brainstorming, writing, editing, and publishing process. The only negative is that it is so many hats, and it's just very tiring. It's very exhausting. So you have to make sure you take care of yourself. Self-care is a huge part of my writing routine, and it really does help a lot. Like, there are some days where I just need to not do anything. Jonathan and I will sit in the living room on an air mattress, and we will put on Parks and Recreation, or this new show we started watching, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but it has very similar humor to Parks and Recreation, and I kind of went into like a downward spiral when we finished watching season 7 of Parks and Rec, because I was like, no, how am I gonna go on without this show? And we recently discovered Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's very similar. A lot of the cast members from Park and Rec will make special guest appearances in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So if you're looking for another show like that, I would highly recommend it. But like I said, sorry, that was a total tangent, but I need to have self-care days where it's a full day where I don't do anything. Otherwise, I will burn out and I will be too tired to do anything. The next question is from Lily Everon. She asked, have you made progress in your nonfiction project? So I have made progress, and it's funny because it started out as one idea and then just snowballed into a bunch of different ideas. So now I know exactly what it is I want it to be. It looks pretty different from what the original idea was before. I'm really excited about it. It's something that I think you guys will really like and that will benefit you. And I'm so excited to announce more about it. I just can't do it yet because, again, since I had all of the, it snowballed and I had all these different ideas, I'm still really piecing together what I want this nonfiction project to look like. But I'm getting really close. It's going to be one of the key projects that I'm working on this summer. So hopefully I'll be able to tell you guys more about it by the end of this year, maybe November, December, and really kind of launch it or get it rolling next year. The next question is from Shaniqua. I know Shaniqua because we did a Skype consultation. She asked, should new writers consider having business cards? If so, anything specific to include or leave out? I would recommend getting business cards, especially if you are going to a writer's conference or some kind of book event, because especially at a book event, you will have readers coming up to you to talk to you about your book or to have you sign their books, but it's very likely that you will have maybe a publicist or a marketing person or someone else who's just kind of wandering the event come over to talk to you. And I always like to be prepared, and I think having a business card looks really professional. As far as what to have on your business card, I would recommend a high resolution photo, normally 300 DPI, and also have your name, your title, which can just be author, and also your social media links. So if you have YouTube, you have a Facebook page, Twitter account, Instagram, and also your website. And then the back can just be blank, or if you have a publishing company, you could put the logo of the publishing company. If you have a PO box, you can put that address on the back. But I would say your picture, your name, title, and then all the places that person can find you online. The next question I received is from Vicky. She asks, what scenes do you find the easiest and the hardest to write? So for me, the easiest scenes tend to be the ones with a lot of action and kind of gory, bloody scenes, like really intense, you know, if there's a big fight or we're kind of getting to the end of the book, those tend to be really easy for me to write. I'm not exactly sure why, but I do think some of it is because I actually am a black belt in Taekwondo, and so I do have a lot of martial arts training, and so I think when it comes to fighting and people defending themselves, I have a lot of knowledge as to how that would actually play out, so it's much easier for me to write those fight scenes. The scenes I struggle with the most are love scenes. I am not a super affectionate person. I mean, I don't mind hugs, and if you're at BookCon or you see me, I will definitely give you a hug and all of that. But in terms of just being really super like ooey gooey and having pet names for, you know, my significant other, we just don't really do that, and that's just never been my style. So when it comes to writing love scenes, I tend to have a hard time with it because I always think whatever I'm writing sounds super cheesy, and that's where my beta readers really help out, because I'll say, I think this sounds super cheesy, what do you think? And they give me their honest feedback. So thank you to my betas, you guys know who you are. All right, we've got 3 more questions. This one is also from Shaniqua. She asks, when is a good time to have cover art made, a certain number of chapters, completed manuscript, editing/beta reading phase? Okay, so for cover art, I like to have my full first draft completed. It doesn't necessarily have to be edited and revised. It doesn't even have to start really going with the beta readers just yet. But for me, I like to have my first full draft because that means I finished the story from beginning to end. And it's very unlikely that I'm going to change a major plot point since the whole book is finally written. When the whole book is written, then you kind of know what the theme is, you know how it's going to end, and you'll have a better idea as to what you want the cover art to look like. This is for me at least. Once you have your first full draft, and if you're feeling pretty confident about it and you know you're not going to change very much, then I would say that would be a good time to reach out to cover designers and have them start creating drafts for your book cover. Some people like to go through the whole beta reading phase and have their manuscript perfectly polished before submitting any ideas for their book cover. It really is up to you. That's just how I do it. And I also find once I get the book cover back, it makes me even more motivated to make that book as amazing as it possibly can be, because I have the cover art, I have the artwork that is bringing my story to life. So it's just a good motivator as well. The next question is from Felicity. She asks, how did you learn to be so confident with speaking? It may come across that way, but I'm really not super confident when it comes to speaking. I do think in school I really did force myself to get up there because I found out the #1 fear amongst, I think, almost everyone is public speaking. And so I have always been a people person. In high school and college, I was definitely more of an extrovert. So getting up in front of people, I was, you know, in a lot of organizations where I was on like the executive board, or I was, you know, in charge of something where I had to get up and talk in front of a lot of people. And also being in a sales type role in my career now, I'm having to get up and give presentations all the time. I think it's kind of the whole practice makes perfect. Practice makes you feel less uncomfortable. I'm still not just 100% comfortable. I know it may seem like it on YouTube, but you have to remember I do have a script all written out. And so that does help me kind of keep my thoughts on track. You'll notice in these videos where they're a little bit more on the spot, I tend to kind of stutter a little bit, or I'll kind of look away because I'm thinking about what I want to say and how I want to answer the question. So if you're struggling with public speaking, I would say try taking a class, really put yourself out there. If you're in school, get up in front of the class or in front of people, give presentations. The more you do it in front of people, the more comfortable you're going to be. And the last question I received is from John Michael Todd, and he asked, what is your turnaround between first draft and revisions? Do you let the first draft simmer before revisions? This is a really great question. So what I like to do once I finish the first draft is I like to put it aside for as long as I can possibly manage. Sometimes that's 2 weeks. If I can do it for a month, then I will not look at it for an entire month, because I feel like the longer you're away from it and then come back to it, the fresher your eyes are and the fresher your perspective is once you go back to read it again. So I've noticed that a month for me works really well. Now, sometimes I've set a more intense deadline for myself and I can only manage 2 weeks, which is completely fine. But I notice for me, a month between drafts is really great. And then as for the turnaround time between drafts, I feel like I'll write my first draft and I can normally do that in 2 months. And then with the rewriting and editing can normally be done in another month or 2. So my turnaround time between drafts is really about a month or 2. You can hear Lacey in the background. Did you like this video? You want to come here? Come here. Come see me. Come here. Come here. Stop being cranky. Come here. Ah, there she is. Hi. It's okay. These bright lights scare you? Thank you so much again to everyone who sent in questions. I had such a fun time answering them. If you guys like this video and want to see more like this in the future, then please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below. All 3 of my books, The Alpha Drive, The Order of Omega, and Restitution, are available for purchase on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, The Book Depository, and Books A Million. You can also order signed copies. For more information on how to get your hands on autographed copies, feel free to click on the link in the description box below. I have teamed up with Audible, the premier provider of digital audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from, to give you guys some free stuff. If you go to audibletrial.com/KristenMartinBooks, then you can get a free audiobook download and a free 30-day trial for their service. My books are not yet available in audiobook format, but this is something I'm working on for the future. I've also opened up a Society6 store where you can get some #AuthorLife goodies such as mugs, laptop cases, and sleeves. To check it out, go to society6.com/authorKristenMartin. BookCon is almost here. It is June 3rd and June 4th in New York City, and I will be attending. I will have a booth number 2776 where I'll be selling and signing copies of my books. So please make sure you come by, say hi, get a picture with me, come chat. It's going to be so fun, and I cannot wait to see all of you there. If you're not already following me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, make sure you do that for daily writing inspiration and advice, as well as to stay up to date on any price promotions, announcements, or giveaways that might be going on. And if you have any questions or anything you'd like me to talk about in one of my next videos, feel free to leave a comment down below. You can also ask a question or post a comment anonymously on my Ask Me Anything page on Tumblr. Again, all the links are listed below. Thank you so much again for watching. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel on your way out. Don't forget, I post new writing advice videos on Mondays and personal day in the life vlogs on Thursdays. I will see you guys next time. Bye.
What are you doing? What are you doing?